So all of the muscles of your body are going to be worked during this workout. And essentially what we do is we have 3 big blocks of work. Within each of those blocks, we do a minute of upper body, a minute of lower body, or sorry, not a minute for today because we're doing 45 seconds or 45 minutes, but 45 seconds, 45 seconds of lower body, 45 seconds of core, and then I believe 45 seconds of cardio, and I'll adjust that if that's incorrect for today. And basically that's kind of one section, and then we'll repeat that 3 times. So that's your 3 big blocks of work, 3 minutes is the second 3, and then we repeat that 3 times within each block. And in between each block, there is that section of cardio. I will get confused probably based on the timing, but that's okay. So I'm gonna read a waiver just for today so that we are all on the same page in terms of liability. So in order to make these classes as freely accessible to our participants, we will be using a verbal warning and assumption of risk at the beginning of the class. Participation in this online class is voluntary. Physical activity programs may result in injury, and by participating, you assume the risk of injury that may result from your participation. We strongly recommend that you participate from a space that is suitable for this activity. For example, make sure that you have moved nearby furniture and other potential hazards. If you're participating in a yoga class or class that involves lying on the ground, we recommend using a mat, or if you don't have one, a carpeted area. Participants are encouraged to stop if they experience pain or injury and should seek appropriate medical advice or care as needed. William & Mary Health and Wellness strongly recommends that each participant have an annual physical examination and follow the advice of your healthcare provider before participating. All right, so now that that's all out of the way, we're gonna go ahead and get started with our warm-up, which for today is just gonna be kind of a stretching sequence called the world's greatest stretch. So if you guys, let me put that in the chat one more time, just for anyone that joined newly. Y'all can pull that up, go ahead and start it. And we're gonna get started at the end of our mat. All right, at the end of our mat, basically in a nice standing position, all we're gonna do is inchworm and bring our arms out in front of us into a nice high plank, just like this. From here, take whichever foot you'd like forward and straddle your hands around your foot. All right, from here, I'm gonna face you guys so y'all can see. We're gonna start with our first stretch. So keep the opposite hand as the foot that's forward on the ground. The other one is going to connect with your fist directly above your elbow. And from here, we're just gonna drop that elbow down to the ground for 5 nice big reps. This is just gonna open up through those hip flexors, through those hamstrings, through those quads. Nice big opening of the hips. So I'm gonna do 2 more here. And last one. All right, guys, now what we're gonna do is open up to a nice big twist by threading the needle underneath that arm that's on the ground and then opening up towards that knee that's forward for, again, 5 nice big reps. So this one, we're gonna open up through that spine, through the lower back, as well as through the upper back. We're gonna do some back exercises today, so super important that we get this nice and open, nice and ready to work. Also feeling it a little bit in that glute. 1 more for me. All right, guys, bring that hand back down to the ground to straddle that foot. From here, what we're gonna do, I'm gonna turn to the side so y'all can see me, is we're gonna bring our toe, bend this back knee, and straighten out that front leg as we bend that toe, and alternate between a hamstring stretch with a nice flat back, and a nice big hip flexor stretch, just like this. So again, 5 nice big reps, feeling a nice big long stretch to that hamstring, but keeping a nice micro bend in that knee and the forward foot. Just like this. We're feeling also a little bit of activation in those shoulders now because we've been putting quite a bit of weight on them for a little bit. I've got 1 more. And last one. And our last exercise on this side, what we're gonna do is go ahead and come into a nice long lunge by bringing our chest upwards. We're going to bring our hands in a prayer in front of us and get some nice chest and back activation. So we're gonna be lowering up and down, 1 inch up, 1 inch down. As we go down, we're pressing our palms together, really activating through that chest and through those lats, and then releasing as we come up. For 5, 1 inch up, 1 inch down. Again, feeling this a little bit more in those quads right here. 2, and 1. All right, guys, go ahead, cartwheel those hands back down. Turn to the side once again so y'all can see. All we're gonna do is bring that foot back into a nice high plank, and then inchworm, bracing that core back up to the top. And guess what we're gonna do? The exact same thing on the other side. So remember which foot you had forward. Let's go ahead, swan dive, hit nice and far down, bringing it out into a nice high plank and bringing that opposite foot between those hands, just like that. All right, guys, so again, so you guys can see, we're going to connect the arm of the same foot that's forward, the fist of it directly above that elbow. We have 5 reps of just bringing that elbow as close to the ground as possible. I want you guys to feel a nice big stretch in this hip flexor and in this hip, but I don't want you to feel any strain. Be kind to yourselves. We're just warming up for now. All right, guys, 2 more for me. And 1 more. All right, from here, we're gonna thread the needle. So bringing that arm directly underneath the one that's on the ground and opening up towards that knee that's forward. We turn the fan on, Juma. My mom is here doing this exercise with me. So if you hear anything going on to the side of me, that's what that is. All right, 2 more for me here, guys. And the last one. All right, straddle that foot with those hands. And again, we're coming to a hamstring stretch by just bending that back leg, straightening that front one, toe goes to the ceiling, and then rocking back into that hip flexor stretch. I feel like our hip flexors are often neglected. We work with them a lot in a lot of our big lower body moves, but often not a stretch that any one of us thinks about. And I don't know about you guys, but I've been sitting a lot, and that's also really tough on your hip flexors. All right, guys, 1 more for me, and we're coming to our last big move. So go ahead, bring that chest up to the sky, or sorry, up in front of you, looking forward, a nice long lunge, trying to get as close to 90-90 as possible, bringing our hands together in a nice big prayer, and as we go down, we press, as we come up, we release. If you want to, you can also just keep them pressed together. We go 1 inch up, 1 inch down, a nice big pulse. I'm a little sore, guys. I went wakeboarding yesterday, so my legs are shaking. 2, and the last one here. All right, cartwheel those hands back down. Just like this, bring that leg back to meet the other one into a nice high plank, making sure that butt is down, and we'll just inchworm, hit back, bracing that core, and coming back up to the ceiling, to the top. All right, guys, grab water, keep it moving if you can. Hopefully your arms and legs are feeling a little bit warmer, but we're also going to use this first little circuit as a little bit of a warm-up as well. So for this, what I'm going to do is get my timer ready, and then I'm going to explain the first 3 moves that we have, and we'll just cycle through those, okay? So the first one we're going to do is work our chest and shoulders, our obliques, and then also kind of our gluteus medius, the side of our glute. So for this first one, we're going to be doing push-ups, all right? So I want you to come down to the ground. You can be on your knees, toes, or tabletop. What we're going to be doing is a hovering push-up, all right? Hopefully y'all can see me well enough, but we're going to come down to where our chest meets our elbows. We're going to shift to one side, shift to the middle, shift to the other side, and shift to the middle, and then come up, all right? So it's kind of a 4-part move. We come down, side, middle, and up. I want you guys to be really careful that we're not straining our shoulders too much. It's really just a little bit of a shift to concentrate a little bit more in the side, the chest, side of your chest that you're leaning towards. Just change that movement a little bit, okay? If you need to bring it to your knees, to tabletop, or on your toes, absolutely fine. For our lower body, we're going to be lying on the ground, so facing me or away from me doesn't really matter, but our legs are out kind of in one long line behind us, and our arm is either on the ground like this, underneath our head, or out in front of us like this, totally fine. Big important thing, let's make sure that our weight is on the big glute that's downwards, okay? So right resting on our butt cheek, and all we're gonna do is a nice big bicycle kind of circle around with that top leg. So we bend it up, push forward, and then bring it back and bend it again as we come forward. So another important thing is that we keep that opposite arm that's not lying in front of us, right? So the arm on top, it's pressing into the mat to give us some stability, all right? If we're feeling really good about this, we also can keep that hand on that hip, but I'm not quite advanced enough for that. So just like this, we'll do a minute, and then 30-30 for that last section. It's not gonna be a minute, but it's gonna be one round, and then the last one will split in half. All right, guys. And then for our core movement, we're gonna be standing up just like this, and we're gonna be doing standing oblique crunches, all right? So we're gonna basically have our arms above our head, and what we're gonna do is just alternating, bringing our elbow and our knee together, crunching through that side abdominal muscle. So we go one side and then the other side. All right, getting a little bit of shoulder involvement here, just like that. All right, guys, so we're gonna start with that upper body move for those hovering push-ups for 45 seconds. I will get this time down. My mom just made a big sigh. She doesn't love push-ups. All right, guys, ready, set, go. And I'll tell y'all when to move on to the next move. So again, we're coming down to 90, shift to one side, middle, shift to the other, middle, and right back up. All right, I want you guys to stay as strong in this movement as you can. And if you need to, feel free, if you're on your toes, to come down to your knees. If you're on your knees, feel free to come into tabletop where those knees are directly under our hips. And all we're doing is pushing down to side, middle, and right back up, just like that. This is a big, big move. It's gonna challenge those chest muscles. So that is exactly right where we wanna be. Making sure that gaze is about 6 inches in front of us. All right, guys, we're gonna swap in 10 seconds. I'm just gonna bring it down so you guys can see me. All right, so that lower body move, let's get onto our side. Make sure that our weight is resting on this bottom butt cheek and that arm is nice and supportive. Woo, that fan just made my paper fall. All right, guys, so a nice forward facing bicycle, just like this. And at halfway, when I hear a little beep from my timer, we're gonna swap the directions. We're gonna bicycle in the opposite direction, just like this. So bend, push back, push forward, and bend right as we get to that front instead this time. So you're feeling a little bit like you're kind of wobbling on that butt cheek. That is a-okay. I want you to maybe play around with really pressing into that mat. Maybe play around with being on the ground. Lots of ways that you can challenge yourself while making sure you're stable. All right, guys, go ahead and stop there. Now for our core movement, let's stand it on up. I don't know if you're gonna be able to see me. Yeah, we're good now. All right, so arms come up. We're doing our standing oblique crunches, just like this. It's really important, guys. If your hips aren't quite as mobile as they should be, mine are definitely not, and you can't get it quite to the side, that's okay. What I want you to try to do, though, is contract through that oblique muscle and hold it up at the top. We need a little extra challenge. All right, just like that. That knee and that elbow are connecting. Getting a little bit of shoulder work, too, as we keep those shoulders up. And our stance should really stay in a nice wide stance, a little bit wider than our shoulders, a little bit wider than our hips. Nice set stance. 5 seconds, guys. Squeeze those obliques. All right, good job. 15 seconds rest, and we will go back to those hovering push-ups. This rest is gonna go by real fast, so if you need to, go ahead and grab water. All right, 3, 2, back to those push-ups, here we go. So we come down, we shift, middle, side, middle. All right, guys, and also something I forgot to mention, try if you can to alternate which side you're going to first. So for example, on the last round, I really only went to my right first. So this time, I'm gonna try to either alternate or I'm gonna go only to my left just to make sure that I'm as even as possible. Whew. Feeling this a little bit in my biceps as well. Lots of activated muscles in this movement, which is why I'm so excited that I'm getting to share with you guys today. My mom is laughing at me. She's dying over there, that's funny. All right, guys, keep it up, 3 seconds. Get this one last rep in. Awesome. All right, so let's switch it over to the other side for this lower body move. And again, maybe this side's gonna feel a little bit more wobbly, maybe a little bit more stable. Some things, we're just cycling forward first. So that bend starts and stops at the front of your body. Awesome, guys. And again, if you can, try to make sure that those hips are facing forward, not downwards, and also not up to the sky. It's a good kind of visual. Those headlights of your hips, if you heard me say that before, should be facing forward. Let's swap it up directions. So now we're pedaling backwards. Hopefully you're feeling some nice glute activation right kind of in the top of that glute as it faces the ceiling. 2, 1, awesome. All right, guys, go ahead, stand it on up. Get ready for that oblique crunch. So arms come up. Maybe this time we challenge a little bit of ourselves to maybe speed it up, maybe hold a little bit longer, challenge that balance as well. Lots of ways that you can challenge yourself in this move. And I really like this one too, because usually we do a lot of our oblique work, either, lying on the mat, kind of like we were in that position for our lower body move, or lying on our backs. So this is one that allows us to work a little bit differently, and also really challenge those stabilizer muscles, our transverse abdominis, that go all the way around as well. Whew. Almost there, guys. Again, maybe we're holding. Feeling maybe a little bit of activation also in those hip flexors and those shoulders. This is a nice, well-rounded move for sure. 3, 2, 1. Good job. All right, 15 seconds, and we're back to that first move. So for this, guys, let's really challenge ourselves, whether that means getting more reps in, holding for longer, or really just making sure that each muscle is feeling the activation. Ready, set, go. All right. And maybe, if you're with me, we can try 1 rep, or maybe 2 reps, just to make sure that we're nice and even. 2 reps or 1 rep, and a little bit higher level. So if you're on your knees, maybe on your toes. If you're on tabletop, maybe on your knees. Lots of different options here. I'll kind of cue that when we can do that together. And we got about 10 seconds left. We can try that. Woo. Feeling a little bit in those triceps as well. All right, guys, if you're with me, take it up to that next level. I'm on my toes, I'm shaking, but all we can do is challenge ourselves and give yourselves a giant round of applause if you did that with me. All right, guys, for this one, we're gonna do half on one side, half on the other. Please try to make sure that we're nice and set before we begin. Ready, set, go. This one's gonna go by quickly. So really, really challenge and get that tension in that gluteus medius, the top part of that glute that's facing the ceiling right now. Almost there, guys. We'll just go forward for this. All right, guys, let's swap it up. Make sure that we are nice and set for this 45-minute format. These moves go by really fast. So make sure we're nice and set. That palm is pressing into the mat. That glute is on the ground, as firm as possible. 3, 2, 1. All right, guys. So 10 seconds for our last little section of core, and then we're done with this big block of work, as I mentioned in the beginning, and we'll do our cardio. All right, guys, here we go. To finish up, how are we gonna challenge this move? Are we gonna hold a little bit harder, a little bit longer? Are we gonna really contract through that transverse abdominis around our bellies, and also in those obliques on the sides? Maybe you're gonna do all of the above. Almost there. Ooh, all right. Feeling this for sure. Again, I feel like these obliques are often muscles that are quite neglected. So working them is going to be very important for us. 3, 2, 1. Great job, guys. All right, so for our cardio, we're gonna be doing jumping jacks. All right, so nice and easy jumping jacks. Let's begin. Ready, set, go. If you would like to not take a plyometric option, we can tap just out to the side, just like this. You can do it nice and fast. Just look at that cardio in. We can also take it up to star jumps, where we take the entire jack in the air. So we jump up, do the jack, and land with our feet and our arms together, just like this. This is going to get that heart rate up. And we can also alternate. We can take it up, we can take it back down. Sometimes I'll do 1 jack and then 1 star jack. That's a good option as well. We got 10 seconds, guys. Let's do this. I'm jumping out of frame. Hopefully you are too. 3, 2, 1, and done. All right, guys. Very nice job. I'm gonna turn the lights in here. There we go. All right. So grab some water. Keep it moving if you can. Do a nice toe tap. Anything to keep that heart rate up. We don't want to go from really elevated to right back down again. So for this next circuit, we're going to be working our back, our quads, and then also our stabilizer, our lower abdominals. Okay, so for our back muscle, we are going to be laying face down on the mat, all right, with our feet on the ground, and our arms on the ground as well. So what we're gonna do is called an alternating swimmer, all right? What we're gonna do is if we raise, we're gonna raise one arm and our opposite leg and hold it for 3 seconds. We're gonna lower and then swap. All right, so this is a great progression. We're tapping in between. What we can also do is raise up into a Superman and alternate just like this without tapping in between. All right, those are your 2 options, and I can give more as we get into it a little bit later as well. So for our lower body, we're gonna be doing something called a leveled squat. All right, so for the squat, we're gonna pretend that our squat has 3 different levels. All right, I'm gonna turn to the side so you guys can see. So we're gonna lower down to that first level. So nice and easy level, just a little bit of a bend, but our hips are going back. We're gonna hold for 3 seconds. We go down to 1 more level for 3 seconds. We go down to that bottom level, wherever that is for you today. We do that for 3 seconds. We come back up to that second level for 3. We come up to that first level for 3, and then we hold. If you wanna hold for 3 at the top, you can. If you wanna hop right back into that next one, you're more than welcome. But that's what our leveled squat is gonna look like today. This is a great move to add weights if you'd like to. And then for our last move, we are gonna be on our mat, laying on the ground just like this. Our legs are gonna start above. All right, so our arms can be out to the T, they can be out by our butt. Lots of different options here. They can also be crossed over our bodies. The main thing is that we keep our lower back in towards the mat. We're gonna be scissoring our legs together just like this, and we're gonna lower them down as we scissor. All right, so as we get lower, it's gonna be a little bit more difficult, and then we're gonna bring them back up. So it's like a leg scissor meets a leg lift, all right? So we can go all the way down to the mat like this. We can also just come to 45 or anywhere in between for that move. All right, guys, hopefully you guys are ready. We're gonna go ahead and get started with our swimmers. So go ahead and lay on the mat right here for 45 seconds. Ready, set, go. All right, guys, just like this. So again, we can keep the arm that's not raising on the mat. That's totally fine. Remember, we are trying to work our back here, so I want you to really squeeze through the upper trapezius muscles and also through our side lat muscles, all right? And if we want to take it up, we can come into a Superman and raise just a little bit higher for each of those swimmer moves. Halfway. So the beauty of the 45 seconds rather than our minute that we usually do is that we're able to really challenge ourselves for those 45 seconds. We've got 10 more. You need a little breather. Go ahead and take it and maybe come to that lower option. 3, 2, 1. All right, guys, go ahead and come on up. We're coming to our leveled squats. So a nice set stance, a little bit wider than our hips, a little bit wider than our shoulders. For the first level, we come down for 3, 2, 1. You don't have to do this with me if you want to do it on your own pace. And then we come right down to that lowest level. We come to level 2 and level 1. And then we hold it at the top and right back down. So guys, really important with these squats. We're pressing those butts back like we're sitting in a chair. Chest is lifted. Our knees are pressing out. Right, we're not letting our knees cave in like this. And our knees also don't cross over our ankles. All right, and all we're doing is really, really challenging those quad muscles by really building up that fire for that whole time. Because essentially what we're doing, right, is we're holding a squat for 45 seconds. All right, go ahead and stop there, guys. So for this core move, seem to be paused. Hopefully you guys can still hear me, but all right, on the mat, legs up in the air, lower back press to the mat, and we scissor as we lower. If you want to take a little bit of a lower option, go ahead and keep that head on the mat. If you'd like to take it up a little bit, you can also lift those shoulder blades up off the mat. But what I want you guys to be focusing on is thinking about where your lower back is, right? That's how we're gonna really challenge our lower abdominal muscles in this move, by pressing and imprinting that lower spine onto the mat. If we're shaking, that is a good thing. I'm sure you guys can kind of hear my shaky breathing. That's because I'm working so hard right now. Woo. All right, 3, 2, 1. and rest. All right, guys, we're back to our upper body move. So we're gonna come back onto the mat, onto our bellies. If you need to, please grab water. Anytime that you need to, grab water. All right, here we go. So raise up and swap. Just like a swimmer, where you alternate legs or alternate arms as you kick. That's what we're doing. What I didn't mention last time too, is let's make sure that our gaze is nice and neutral. It's about 6 inches to a foot in front of us. I might be looking to the side just so that you guys can hear me, but I want you all's gazes to really protect that neck, be supportive of that neck. And again, for that elevated option, we can come into a Superman where our legs and our arms stay lifted, and all we do is lift them up a little bit more. Again, it's kind of a combo move, so we're also feeling it in those glutes. 3, 2, 1, and lower. Good job. Also feeling it a little bit in those lower back muscles, which are really important for protecting our spine. Back to those leveled squats. Ready, set, go. All right, guys, so level 1 for 3, level 2 for 3, level 3 for 3. So this is a really cool move too, because it allows us to really play with kind of our ability, right? And our levels in our squat, literally, right? So seeing our range of motion, how deep we can get into that squat by allowing us to play around with that. For me, that looks like my thighs are just about parallel with the ground. However, for you, it may be that your lowest squat really only looks like this, and that is totally fine, all right? All we're doing is playing around with it, understanding our own bodies, our own squats today. For 3, 2, 1. Good job. All right, guys, back to core. Let's lay it back down on the mat. Meet me there. Meet me with your lower backs pressed into the mat and your legs up in the air. Again, you can have your arms out in T if you'd like, or just scissoring, bracing that core, and then raising it right back up. So this is challenging not only our lower core, because we're doing that nice leg lift, right? But doing this scissoring movement is also challenging our transverse abdominis, because we're kind of moving, our hips are moving just a little bit, and our transverse abdominis, which is the muscle that goes all the way around our core, is having to stabilize us, and that's super important. And again, if we need a little bit of a lower option, we need a regression, we can just take it to 45 and then bring it right back up. Your feet also don't have to be pointed, they can be flexed. I just find that pointing helps me a little bit. All right, that's it. That's our timer. Grab water if you need it. Take a towel, which I didn't grab, of course. This is our last round, guys, so I want you to think about how you can challenge yourself. Oh, my mom. Thank you. All right, guys, on the mat. Here we go for our last round. Maybe for this one, we keep our legs, our limbs off the ground. Maybe we don't. Maybe we just try to squeeze through those upper body muscles, through those upper back muscles, through those lower back muscles. Maybe we squeeze our glute a little bit harder as well. We're making sure we're breathing during this move. That gaze is nice and neutral. Again, 6 inches to a foot. Taking a little break if we need it, and then we come right back into it. For 3, 2, 1. Good job, guys. All right, this is our last level squat. So on this one, I think a really good way to challenge yourself is not to take that 3 seconds at the top of the squat, right? So we come to level 1, to level 2, to level 3, back to level 2, to level 1, and we come up and go right back into level 1. That's a great way to challenge yourself. But if you'd like to take that rest up at the top, that's also totally fine. And if you guys are using weights, like I suggested at the beginning, that's amazing. I'm sure your quads are going to thank you tomorrow. All right, guys, 10 seconds. Remember, chest is lifted. Remember that good squat form. I would much rather that you take a little break and preserve your technique. All right, guys, that is our last one there. Let's go to the mat for our last little bout of core during this nice big block. Lower back press to the mat, and let's scissor. as we lower. Again, lifting that head up off the mat if you'd like, but otherwise keeping it on the ground, protecting that neck. Also remembering to breathe with this move. Anytime we're doing stuff that challenges kind of our breathing muscles, right? So the muscles that surround and encourage our breathing, like our abdominal muscles. It can sometimes be hard to remember. So try to remember. And if we're shaking, that is a great sign that we're really challenging that transverse abdominis muscle. The stabilizer muscles. Maybe we're feeling a little bit like burning those upper abs, those lower abs. All right, guys. Hug it in for a bit. And then roll it right back up because we have got cardio. 45 seconds. All right, we're doing lateral shuffle taps. We are squatting, shuffling, and tapping. Join me when you're ready. So really important with this, guys, is that as we tap, we're lowering it into a squat. I want you to try to stay as low as possible as we shuffle, and then dropping it into that squat, challenging those quads yet again as we tap. Woo. Feeling it in those quads. They're crying, they're burning, but that's just a sign of a great workout. We got 10 seconds, guys. Can you get a little bit faster? Maybe shuffling a little bit further. 3, 2, 1, and stop. Take a nice deep breath in. Keep your head, your heart over. Keep your heart elevated is what I mean to say. Grab some water if you need it. And we'll get into our last big block of work. You guys are rocking it. All right, so how are we doing on time? Great. All right, so for our last section, we are going to be working our shoulders, our glutes, and then our glutes and our hamstrings, that is, and then our stabilizer muscles. All right, so for our shoulders, we're gonna be standing up. All right, and we're kind of gonna take that same idea. We're just gonna raise myself up so you guys can see just a little bit. There we go. Taking that same idea that we had with our leg scissors for our abdominals, we're gonna be doing arm scissors out in front of us. So we're scissoring our arms as we raise them up above our head and then lower them right back down. If we wanna make them nice and small, just like this, that's fine. If we wanna make them nice and big, that is also fine. Challenge yourself, see which one feels better, see which one really challenges those shoulder muscles, and decide for yourselves. All right, for our lower body, we're gonna come down to the mat in a tabletop position. So our knees are directly under our hips, our hands are directly under our shoulders, and we're gonna alternate our legs, doing a fire hydrant and donkey kick combo. All right, so what we're gonna do is lift one of our knees off the mat, keeping it in a nice 90-degree bend though. We're gonna donkey kick upwards, bring it back down, and then fire hydrant outwards and replace it on the mat. So donkey kick up, swapping legs, coming back without landing back on the mat, coming to a fire hydrant, which a fire hydrant is basically just to remember or think about a dog peeing on a fire hydrant, right? We're just raising that glute to the side and then replacing it back down. All right, just like that. And then for our core, we are going to be coming into a plank. We're gonna be doing, you can either be on your hands or on your forearms. Nice, butts are down, nice neutral spine. We're gonna be doing 2 plank jacks and then a hold for 3 seconds. So we go 2, 1, hold for 3, 2, 1, and hold. All right, that way, again, really challenging that transverse abdominis, but also just practicing our plank form and all that good stuff. All right, so we're gonna start out with those shoulder arm scissors. Ready, set, go. All right, guys, so we start level with our shoulders. We bring it directly over our head and then right back down. And again, it can be as fast up and down or as slow up and down as you like. But as I always say in my class, the goal here is never speed, it's always control. So let's think about our stance as well. I want you to look down briefly, make sure that your feet are just outside your hips. You got a nice micro bend in those knees. We're not locking out our legs. Whew, maybe we'll make them a little bit bigger this time. As we finish up, less than 10 seconds. Woo. All right, guys, 3, 2, 1, done. All right, let's come down to the mat into our tabletop position for, again, those donkey kicks and fire hydrant combos. So we bring one leg up to a donkey kick, we bring it down but don't replace it, and then bring it into a fire hydrant and then replace. Donkey kick, reset, fire hydrant, replace. Hopefully that makes sense to you guys. And again, just like we kind of learned with our swimmers, we want to make sure that that neck is nice and neutral, so we're just looking about a foot in front of us. We're not straining that neck forward or to the side. We're also making sure that those hips are staying square to the mat as much as possible. As we lift one of our legs, we're trying really hard not to shift our weight to the other leg. All right, guys, that was our last one. We're going to be doing our plank jacks. So again, up on your hands or on your forearms for 2 plank jacks, and then a 3-second hold. Ready, go. 1, 2, and then hold. So as we hop back together, we don't want our legs touching. We want them still to be nice, about shoulder width apart. And hold. And with this hold, I want you guys to make sure too that we're not letting our butt come up into the air, because our shoulders are still directly over our arms, our hands. Our shoulder heads come directly over our hands. And if we want to be, we can also be down on our forearms. And hold for 3. 1, 2, and hold. So I tried to incorporate today some more combo movements to challenge your brain today as well. All right, guys, bring it to your knees. Take a little breather, and we'll go back to our shoulder arm scissors. Woo. Hopefully you're feeling sweaty. I know I am. All right, guys, ready, set, go. So again, look down at that stance. Make sure that your knees are nice and bent, allowing that blood flow to come all the way through. And if you can, let's think about also engaging our core. I'm always talking about this. I want to make sure that we tuck our pelvis underneath us. That's going to really engage that transverse abdominis that I've been talking about all of class. Whew. So breathing through this move as well. Just taking a nice, powerful stance. For 3, 2, 1. Ow. You need to take a quick shoulder stretch. And then come back to the ground for that hamstring move. All right, guys, make sure we're nice and set in this tabletop. And let's do it. Donkey kick, and then a fire hydrant. So we're working the glute and the hamstring, the gluteus maximus and the hamstring. This donkey kick, so we're squeezing upwards and then squeezing outwards. We're working that glute med again that we worked on our very beginning circuit. So guys, squeezing at the top and squeezing as you raise to the side as well. Feeling it also maybe a little bit in those obliques, just a touch. And like I was saying before, trying not to shift your weight into the opposite leg as you lift, all right? Trying to keep the weight as even as possible, bracing that core. This is also a nice core move. All right, last one here. And replace, and let's go into core. So guys, maybe last time you tried it on your hands, maybe let's try it on our forearms, or stay with it. Ready, set, go. 2 taps, and then a 3-second hold, bracing that core. 1, 2, and hold. With that gaze, just like I've been talking about, nice neutral neck. We're just trying really hard not to strain. We're not looking between our feet. Maybe feeling those shoulders a little bit as well. Ouch. And if we need a little break, come to our knees, shake it out just a little bit, and then maybe swap up, whichever one you're doing. But come right back into it when you're ready. We got a nice big rest after this, guys. 2, 1, knees down. All right. Woo. Just sit it back. Relax. We have got one more round in this entire class. All right, guys? So let's get it done. Arm scissors, stand it on up. Set your stance before you begin, and let's make it happen. So important, let's revisit, right? We're not lowering our arms below our shoulders. We keep them nice and high, just like this. We're also not bringing them behind our head. They're just going directly overhead, just like this. We're really thinking about how we can challenge ourselves, whether in this movement means going faster, it means making them bigger. Bigger, I would say, is really gonna challenge different moves. And the reason that we're doing kind of this raised, kind of elevated arm scissor, because it's gonna work different sections of our shoulder muscles, right? There's multiple muscles involved in our shoulders. So we're gonna try to challenge all of them in one move. 3, 2, 1. All right, guys, come to that tabletop again. Oh my gosh, there's like sweat dripping on the ground. Sure, it's from the plank jacks. Oh, we're in tabletop. All right, tabletop. Let's go for our donkey kick. And then our leg raise, just like that. Kick and raise to the side. Squeezing those glutes, squeezing those hamstrings. That's what this move is meant to work, all right? But we're also bracing to that core anytime we're in tabletop. It's a really great kind of balance challenge. So we're also bracing that core. We're almost there, you guys. We're over halfway. We got 10 seconds left. Let's make it happen. Can we do 3 more? Maybe, we'll see. Last one in, guys, last one. All right, so our last plank. Let's see if we can make it happen without stopping. Ready, set, go. I'm gonna come onto my forearms. My shoulders are really painful right now. And hold for 3. So 2 plank jacks, which again, destabilize the core, make our transverse abdominis work super hard. And then we hold that plank, which works pretty much all of our abs, all of our abdominal muscles. Even in this forearm plank, our shoulders are directly over our elbows, I mean. Our gaze is nice and neutral. If you want to, you can come to that other option. Give yourselves a little bit of a break, but without stopping. All right, guys, less than 10 seconds. Let's make it happen. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Squeeze those glutes as well. No mountains, no valleys. 3, 2, 1. Whoo! Ouch. Those shoulders. My shoulders were already a little sore. So, cardio, we're doing, hold on, I want to pause it really fast so I can explain it. We're going to do a burpee and then come directly into some lunge jumps. All right, so we do 1 burpee, just like this. We squat, hands to the floor, shoot back. We pop up into some lunge jumps. This is a tough cardio move, guys, but we've got it. 45 seconds. Let's do it. Hold on. Ready, set, go. So after those lunge jumps, just jump right back into a squat and then into that burpee. And you can also be doing this without plyometrics, just tapping it back. Or if you want to really spike that heart rate, obviously jump in as high as you can, bracing that core throughout. And after this, good news, guys, we're cooling down. 5 seconds, let's do it. 3, 2, finish that rep, and you're done. Amazing, amazing job, you guys. So I think that cool down music has already maybe started, but if you'd like, start it over, or just meet me when you can, laying in a nice big child's pose, all right? Maybe grab some water, towel off, but then meet me there. All right. I gotta measure my breathing. That always happens to me, is I have a hard time talking during the cool down section because of that last cardio peak that we do. Whew. So if you've come to my 1-hour class before, let me know what you think about the 45 minutes. I think it's a nice challenge, especially for a Saturday where, you know, exercising may not be your first priority, as it shouldn't be when you're having fun during the summer, you know? All right, guys. What we're gonna do is take one of your arms, we're gonna thread the needle, just like we did in the beginning of class, underneath the arm that stays forward, and press that shoulder into the mat, getting a nice big shoulder stretch. Follow your gaze towards the hand that's threaded bringing that ear to the bottom, or to the mat. And again, my gaze is a little bit awkward just because I'm trying to make sure you guys can hear me. So, just like that. All right, guys, unthread that needle, replace it. Press back in that child's pose, and then let's do the same thing on the other side. So thread the opposite hand underneath, press into that shoulder. Again, I'm gonna keep my head towards you guys so y'all can hear. We're getting a nice shoulder stretch. Also a nice big hip stretch in this child's pose. Woo! This feels good. All right, guys, go ahead and replace it. Press into that child's pose one last time, and when you're ready, go ahead and meet me in that tabletop that we saw before. All right? All right, guys, we're gonna take ourselves through some cat-cows. So when you're ready, I want you to tuck that chin, press that back up to the sky, almost like you've got a string tied to you and a balloon is floating up, pressing your back up to the sky. And then when you're ready on an exhale, let's go ahead, bring that head up to the sky, press that belly down towards the mat and those hips up to the sky. And let's take this through a couple of these at your own pace. Feeling that stretch through your back. We work that back pretty hard for the swimmers. Woo. And also to that chest. We also work pretty hard in those first push-ups. I'm sure you guys have already forgotten about those. Those were tough, huh? You can thank a guy that I found on YouTube for those. All right, guys, let's do one more cat, one more cow. Beautiful, and come back to that nice neutral tabletop when you can. We might go a little over, I think we already have, so if you need to go, that's totally fine, but try to stretch yourselves out. But for now, let's take one of our legs, bring it forward. We're gonna come into a nice big hip flexor stretch. So one knee is on the ground, the other one is in the 90-degree angle in front of us. We're gonna push our hips forward, and then we're going to just kind of press forward so we feel a nice hip flexor stretch. But we're not pressing forward like this. I don't like to do that just because, I don't know, I find that you can, not strain too many of your other muscles while still feeling that same hip flexor stretch by just pressing your hips forward a little bit more. All right, guys, let's get into that hamstring. Straddle those hands around that foot, just like we did in the beginning as well. Press that toe up to the sky, bend that back knee, and straighten this front one, keeping a nice micro bend and a nice flat back. Good job. All right, guys, replace that knee back to the mat. And let's do the other side. Let's do that hip flexor stretch. So again, pressing our hips forward, so just like that, and then pressing forward into that hip flexor. Just breathe in here, thanking your body for all the awesome work it just did. And let's press back into that hamstring. Same deal, toe goes up to the ceiling, nice micro bend, we don't lock out that knee. And flattening that back out. All right, guys, come back to tabletop, and then when you're ready, come up to kneeling. And however you can, let's get up and stand on up. We're gonna do a nice big quad stretch here. So grab one of your legs, press that other leg or other arm out to the side for balance. Grab those shoelaces, and we're gonna press forward with those hips. If you'd like, you can also bring that other arm around for a little bit of a deeper stretch, but that standing leg stays nice and bent. All right, guys, let's switch it up. Opposite hand goes out for balance. We press forward in those hips. And that other hand can come around. All right, and we'll finish up with a nice big shoulder stretch. We work those shoulders to death today. So bring that arm across your body, making sure to grab either above or below your joint, but not right on that elbow. All right, and swap. Same thing, don't pull on that elbow. Nice bend in those knees. So breathe in. All right, guys, shake it out and give yourselves a huge round of applause. Again, my name is Maddie. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I'll be back next Saturday, and I think for the next 3 Saturdays. So if you enjoyed it, definitely come back, tell your friends about it. And if you have any questions, let me know. I'm just gonna stop recording now. But yeah, have a great rest of y'all's day.